Hey everyone, doing something a little bit different today. This is a true collect cash podcast episode where I get the privilege of talking to a fellow finance YouTuber as we get to know more about him. If you haven't heard about Investing Sensei, his channel link will be listed below. He's racked up just under $200,000 in his various portfolios, and he's only in his 20s. Did I mention that he's made all these great gains in only just a year of investing? Find out how he did it today. Make sure you've hit that like button for the algorithm, you're subscribed, and comment if you want more videos like this, and let's get started. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Back with my first ever episode of the Collect Cash podcast with Investing Sensei. Yeah, I really want to thank you for just spending your time with me, and just we're going to get to know a little bit about you and your background, and really happy for the viewers here. So we'll get into our first question here, Investing Sensei, and that is, and just so the viewers are aware, like you're kind of like me too, where we're kind of both anonymous. We don't really share too much about our personal lives, so I feel like that just works best for this podcast that we have going right here.
Yeah, well, recently I revealed my face.
Yeah, guys, check him out. He's a total stud. All right, so Sensei, how did you get into investing? Like, what age were you when you started?
So I think I'm 28 right now, and I kind of like towards this age now. I kind of forget around what age I'm actually at. But I think I was like 27 right around. So I started at 2019, January, right after the correction in December. And so I got in at a really good time.
Whoa, that's crazy. So I'm only 24, and I only started investing. I started investing when I was 21, but you've actually started after me, but your portfolio is like much bigger than mine. So like when you were working, did you just like put all your money into the bank?
Yeah, so a lot of people are gonna hate this, and I hate it too. So I basically graduated, and then I I really like to like just save up, but I wasn't really aware of like inflation or any of that kind of stuff. So all I would do would put my money in the savings account. That's all my paychecks. And so like I also have another job in the weekends that I also go and work. All that money would just go into the savings account, which is kind of really dumb. I finally like watched some YouTube videos, and that kind of inspired me to start investing. And I learned about inflation. And at that point, that's where all my money from my savings account left. Only thing I have is like an emergency fund.
You watched Citizen of the Year, right? That's how you got started.
Yeah, I did.
Because like I feel like for me personally, I never like learned about investing at all in school. It wasn't until like after I graduated college. I majored in accounting, that's like business related, but we never talked about stocks for the most part. So I felt like for me it's something that I had to take that initiative and just learn on my own. So do you feel like you in your life, did you have people helped you with investing, or was it something you just had to pick up on your own?
I guess like the stocks themselves are like something really intimidating, especially like for taxes purposes. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of stayed away. Actually, my brother, so I have a younger brother. He's 1 year apart.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually, one of his friends got him into investing. And so he actually started a year before me. And so he kept telling me, like, hey, go ahead and invest and do this. But I was too afraid. To me, the stock market was something that was like the big, picture that everybody would always say, like, no, you're going to lose money, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And I didn't know what I was doing. Right.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I'm going to put my money in there, my hard earned money, and then I'm just going to lose it. But for some reason, after I learned it, I think it was the Monk Way. It was a YouTube
Yeah.
channel, and like he talked about inflation, and just that video clicked. And from there, I was like, what am I doing with my savings account? Yeah.
I definitely remember the Monk Way. I think he stopped posting around the time you started investing. So what if you guys
Yeah.
are like the same person?
Oh, yeah, we might be.
Even around your family, like are you kind of known as an investor or
Yeah. So it's me, my brother. I have another brother as well. We just got him. He just turned 18. Well, he's actually just turned 19. So basically, he turned 18 in last March. So when the market crashed,
Mhm.
and we got him to open a Roth IRA. And like he right now he's up massively with his gains. Obviously, he doesn't have a lot invested, but still those gains are just going to compound. And especially by the time he's 28, 10 years from now,
Hmm.
he's going to be living the good life.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like, you kind of got that, you're kind of building that generational wealth, and you're getting your family involved in it too. I mean, even though I started investing when I was 21, like my only regret now is like, man, why didn't I start when I was 18? In college, I just had so much money just sitting in the bank. I
Oh,
was,
yeah.
and I see like the prices of like Amazon, back in 2014, that's when I started college. I was like, wow, I could have gotten in at Amazon, Google at these prices, just held them. Could have easily paid off my student loans.
Yeah, I know. Like, I wish I was like, man, somebody should have taught me this when I was 18. Cause, just from the past 2 years that I've invested, I've gotten really, really good returns. I can't imagine like, 10 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. We know that you got like 100K plus portfolio. Do you want to share like what career path that you took to to get all those excellent gains?
So I watched Citizen of the Year is how I got those gains. But no,
In
but
addition to that, yeah.
so the career that I'm in is my actual title is computer engineering,
Hmm.
but really at work I'm more of like just a software developer. And so I basically just do more of like infrastructure work. This is like Python, Groovy, like Java, Jenkins. So it's like really cool.
Yeah, no. So that's a career that you had to go to school for 4 years?
Yep, it was a bachelor's.
Nice. Yeah. So for me, I do like accounting work, and I was able to get that also in 4 years. That's pretty rare. I feel like a lot of, my friends who did go to college, a lot of them are in school, 8 years, 6 to 8 years. And I'm like, man, I just couldn't do it. Like, school is just so expensive these days, and, just racking up student loans. I feel like I could just put that towards like investing or, a side gig.
Yeah, I for mine, I was actually it took me how many years did it take me? I think it took me like 6 years to actually finish my 4 year degree.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I mean, so were you full time or part time?
yeah, so I was kind of like part time. Yeah, so on the weekends I would work as in a restaurant, and so it actually took me 6 years to get my bachelor's degree, which is more like just a 4 year degree.
Hmm.
And so in the weekends I would work at the restaurant. Monday through Friday, I would take about 2 to 3 classes. And so they were engineering classes, so they were kind of pretty tough. Basically, they would take most of my time. So I would do that. And I also co-opted with the company that I'm actually working with right now. So they were able to offer me a job about a year before I graduated. So that was really, exciting and motivating to try to graduate.
Nice. Yeah, no, my company does a co-op as well. So did you get paid for doing the co-op?
Yeah, yeah, I got paid every term as well. Like one of the cool benefits about it, it was like when I co-op the full term, I would just have to work the 40 hours every week, and they would actually pay for one of your classes. And so like the school that I went to, it was like about $1,300 a class. So that
Okay.
was pretty expensive. That's not even including books. Usually your grade for that class was a midterm, a final, and then like well, your midterm was like 30 to 40, well, 40% of your grade. A final was 30%. So then they would give you like a 10% quiz and then the rest either a project or homework. So it was pretty challenging.
That's something I wish like more and more schools did, was that they had like a combination of, the books and, coursework, but then you also had like real world experience. I know like my company, I know they would love to have like college students. You probably get to pay them a lot cheaper, but they do get actual experience and work done. I don't know why more schools don't do this. They should have partnerships with companies. I feel like, we talk about all this to like, how are we going to get student loans and debt lower? I feel like that's like, a great way to do that, especially because a lot of people, they don't even know like what they actually want to do when they're in college. So I mean, I feel like it's the best of both worlds. Like some of the co-ops that work at my company, they're only like freshmen, sophomore. So I mean, it's better that you experience the co-op program now than you do all the years of college and then you realize you don't like that career.
Yeah, I think that's a really good, valuable tip you gave there. And especially because also the other thing about the co op program that you benefit is that you get a job offer. They're like, hey, we already invested in this person. While they paid you, we're going to, offer them a job once they graduate. And it's really nice knowing that you have a job as soon as you graduate than to get your bachelor's and then you have to look for a job. And then if they're not hiring, if you don't have any experience, the next thing that companies will tell you is like, oh, hey, you've been out of school too long and you need to go back.
Yeah, that's just crazy. And yeah, it definitely, even if you don't get a job at that particular company, like that's still like real world experience you can put on your resume. So just want to transition now. So I know you're like me, you own a bunch of different companies like in your portfolio. And this is something I've struggled with a lot too, is like, I kind of have that shiny object syndrome. Like every time I hear about a stock, I'm like, oh, I need to buy it. It was the best stock ever. Just want to kind of go through, what's your process and mindset when you buy new company?
Typically, this is more, it'll be if it's something that I keep hearing a lot and often, or like they're products that I use,
Mm-hmm.
then that's when I kind of like it clicks and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna look into this company. And a lot of it that I really like to use is seekingalpha.com. Usually the way that I look at it is that I'll look at the balance sheet, I'll look at their fundamentals and think about it from, 10, 20 years from now, if there'll be a company that is going to be here, if they have a moat that not another company just going to come in and wipe them out, especially because like when we have a market correction or market crash, like, last March, it actually excites me to go and put more money in it than to panic and be like, hey, should I not even be in this company?
Yeah, no, that's definitely great advice. I know, like, there's companies like Johnson and Johnson, 3M. Those companies have been around for over a century, and there's been so many more harder hit areas of our life than just C-19 in the past year. Johnson and Johnson, 3M, they've been through like world wars, Great Depressions, and they've still survived. They've still paid dividends during those years. They've been profitable. So yeah, that's definitely kind of how I started too. Is that I bought these companies that I've heard of, that had great track records, and as you mentioned, kind of have that moat into my portfolio. But it also seems, I think one mistake that I made when I started was I think I went a little too defensive. I almost didn't buy stocks into my portfolio unless they paid a dividend. Now I've kind of shifted away from that, and I've been buying a lot more growth stocks. So to you, kind of what's your balance between finding like a right mix of both, defensive, growth, speculative?
So I actually have three portfolios. And so I have an M1 portfolio, which is basically just dividend growth. And right now I have two companies that don't pay a dividend, which is Tesla and Neo, but I just feel like they've been beaten down so much that I think I'm gonna make really good gains from it a couple years from now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna leave those there. But I have that portfolio that all its purpose is every week I contribute $100. And so that's where I can continue to dollar cost average. And, I have these scripts that will tell me like, hey, those $100 that you put in and any dividends that got paid out, this is how much you increased your, projected annual income. And that's kind of like what my goal is, because my stocks will continue to go up and down, fluctuate over time. But what I want to see is that passive income go up, because I actually want to live off of that eventually.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's the goal for all of us.
yeah,
That it's so yeah, I've seen your gains because you're very transparent with what you put out there, and your gains, at least on M1, I think I was looking today, it was like double what the S&P 500 has returned, right?
yeah, it's I don't know how. I think I just got at the best time investing, and I just continued putting a lot of money in it because there are companies that I'm really bullish on, and if they go down, like I'm like, man, I'm getting a discount on this. And so like I think it was Apple, Skyworks, Nvidia when it went to like 130, 140, I was buying it and it's at like $500 a share. So like I think total I put like $6,000, so it's worth like over 20,000 now. And that's where most of the gains are coming from.
Wow, it's crazy because you said you started investing right when C-19 started. That was the best time to get started. But if people remember back then, people thought like the world was ending. Like they thought the stock market would never recover. That we were headed toward economic collapse. So for you to be able to be a beginner and get in at these stocks at those prices, man, that's just insane.
Yeah, and I guess just to answer your question about the growth, so I have also a growth portfolio, which is mostly just in fidelity. I basically have like I guess better gains than my dividend growth portfolio. And that's because I have companies like Tesla, and like I was buying that company back when it was like a $200 one before the stock split. That portfolio is kind of like, hey, I'm gonna leave it, see what happens. Those companies are gonna grow over time. And then I have a Weeble portfolio, which I basically run the wheel. And what I want to do with that is collect premium because I want to be able to replace my 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the amount of money that you've been making on the on that Webull account. Man, that replacing the 9 to 5 job might come sooner than later.
Yeah, my goal right now is to get to $1,000 a week. I'm getting kind of close, but right now I'm kind of like bag holding. I have like 300 shares of Neo.
I'm in that boat with you. I think my average cost on a put of Neo was like $58. And then of course it just continued to collapse after. But I mean, I believe in Neo in the long run. So I think it's gonna eventually get back up, into like the $60 range.
Yeah. I
Um,
I think we'll probably hit 80 to $100 eventually. So what's gonna suck is that, like I sell covered calls on it and my shares are probably gonna get taken away and I'm gonna regret doing that.
yeah, I guess it depends on how far you put out that expiration date.
Yeah.
So I guess that gets us into our next question, which are, what have been some of your best investments and what have been some of your worst investments so far?
I guess for my best investments, I think it has been Tesla.
Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super bullish. I guess I also got really good at lucky at the time when I invested. I invested before it started rallying up huge. Yeah, that has been my best investment. I think my worst investment, I would probably say Wells Fargo. So
Yeah, because they cut the dividend and then the stock fell like heavily, right?
yeah, it was like a 40 or $45 a share, and then they cut the dividend to like 80% or something. And then it just that stock tanked really bad.
Yeah, I guess that's, like when you own so many stocks, like it's just bound to happen, like statistically, like not everything is going to be a home run.
Yeah. I should have just put my money into JP Morgan.
Yeah, hey, you win some, you lose some. Have you looked into the JP Morgan like covered call ETF?
Oh no, I haven't looked at it, but I know Dave always talks about it.
Yeah, I've been trying to do like the challenge where you own like 100 shares of the three main like different covered call ETFs, like QILD, NUSI, and then JEPI.
Oh no, Dave talks about Newsy. Joseph Carlson talks about JP.
Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, no, I think those are great to just have like just some passive income. Like I feel like, because right now I have money in the bank, it would just be better in these high yielding covered call ETFs. I like the strategy that they're running and you get a little bit more diversification. So yeah, in terms of like some of my worst and best investments, I bet you could not guess what my best investment is. It's actually like a company that I see very few YouTubers own. I
I'm
think
gonna have to say it's Square because I sold out of it.
now, unfortunately, I bought Square at like more of its all-time highs. The best
Oh,
investment is actually Applied Materials.
oh wow.
Yeah, so I think Ryan Giffen owns it as well. I'm not sure how many other YouTubers own it, uh,
Hmm.
but that has just been taking off. It's a semiconductor manufacturer. They pay a pretty small dividend, but that one has been a great. And my worst investments, I only own two Chinese companies, and they're both my worst investments. I mean, we talked about Neo,
Yeah.
but then back when I first started investing, this would have been like spring of 2018. I bought into they called it like the Netflix of China. It's a stock called IQ. Back then, I thought making money in the stock market was like super easy. Like anything that just shoots up is just bound to keep going up. So I just, right when I started, I put a lot of money toward it. What's even worse is that I actually told like my coworker at work about it, and he actually bought into it as well. So I feel really bad. But like as soon as both me and him put a good amount of money in it, the stock absolutely tanked. In the 3 years since, it has never recovered to where it was. but I still hold it in my portfolio just to remind myself, like, hey, you got to like control your emotions. Don't ride the hype train. And just because the stock went up doesn't mean it's just going to keep going up. And you need to do like your fundamental research and not just ride the hype train.
Yeah, that usually happens to me where like if I purchase something, it just goes down immediately.
You said you work in the software industry. Like, do you have any like career advice for those that are just getting started in that field?
Yeah, so one advice would be to, just push through it on school wise because a lot of the school, you know, the engineering or even just computer science in general, they'll make the classes very hard and, they basically do them like the weed out classes. But if you get through that, when you get to the actual workforce, like it's way easier and there's so much stuff that you learn and it's actually really fun. A lot of the times, like right now when I go to work, like I don't even realize that it's already 5 o'clock, because I guess right now it's because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. A lot of the classes that you'll do is they'll probably put you to do like C++ or C. You'll actually get to do some really cool languages, and either depending on the company you work on, but just continue going through and just watch YouTube videos on programming. Uh, it'll get a lot easier as you go, and the more you do on projects.
Yeah, no, I feel like the learning on YouTube that like never ends. I feel like YouTube has more educational content than going to actually be in college.
Yeah, I think it's like a platform that's just going to continue to grow and grow over time.
Is that kind of what made you want to start a YouTube channel?
Well, that as well because I started investing and I wanted to keep myself accounted to. And I was like, hey, if I tell myself that I'm going to, you know, post a video once a week with what I invested in and what I did,
Hmm.
then I'm gonna hold myself accountable for that. And somehow it started working. So some people actually like it and they watch it now. So thanks to all my subscribers for that.
I felt like when I first started, I was like, even if I just have even like 10 people ever watch my videos, I think I would be more than okay with that. So, I mean, yeah, for me as well, it's kind of like what you said. It just kind of holds me accountable. And I really like talking about like personal finance just in my personal life. It's hard to talk about it because it's kind of like a taboo subject. So usually you don't go around just like, hey guys, I just bought like $1,000 of, realty income. So yeah, I really like the YouTube community because it's like a place to chat about stocks and what you're into, that you might not be able to get, in the real world.
Yeah. And the other thing about that is like, I have, I guess just from the people that follow me, and they always have like feedback in the comment section and stuff. Like, it's like always super exciting to like have a conversation with them because, like my fiance, if I try to talk to her about stocks, she's like, and like the people in the comment sections are like always excited to either watch my videos or like talk about stocks or be like, hey, you should check this out or this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, that's really cool ideas.
Yeah, no, it's just having that community. And, I don't know if you got the chance to check out my latest video. It was actually about how you might have seen her like on the news. Her name is like Bad Baby. She was the girl that was on Dr. Phil.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I didn't. For some reason, I didn't get your notification. But yeah, I saw somebody else that post something about that.
Yeah, no, it's no shock that the YouTube algorithm didn't promote it. But anyway, it was about like, she just turned 18 this past week, and she did an OnlyFans, and she's already made over $1 million from literally just posting photos of herself. Like, and you and me talk about like, our careers and putting in them long hours, and she has made more than we make combined, just for posting like, photos of herself. So it's just kind of crazy, like, certain
Well,
professions.
well, what's crazy is that that's like a recurring monthly $1 million, most likely.
Yeah, because she's charging people $23 every month to say to be a subscriber.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
What are we doing wrong, man?
Yeah, I mean, if you want, like, we should, start an OnlyFans together, like, start charging people. No, but I mean, so like, what are investing senseis like future goals and ambitions? Are you planning on getting into real estate? I think you said in one of your videos that you are starting to, do that path as well.
Yeah, so well, the real estate one portion is more like so I proposed to my, I guess, my fiance now this and what at the New Year's. So now we're trying to like just look for a house or either some land so that we can build a house. But it would be more for, a house that we would live in. I feel like
Wait, are you going to be doing like a new construction?
yeah, most likely, but it all depends. We're still trying to like figure out what we want to do there.
Okay. No, no, congrats on that.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, right now, like houses, there's so much demand, but there's no supply almost. And so like the prices are ridiculous right now.
Yeah, I know for me, like just for fun, I feel like this is a sign of being an adult is that you spend more time on like Redfin and Zillow than you do on like actual social media. But yeah, every time I look at like houses now, I could have looked at that house just a few months ago, but the price range has just skyrocketed. They didn't do anything to enhance the house just because of the way the market is. It's went up like 50K in just 3 months for just the way the market is. It's crazy.
Yeah, and like lumber right now, like if we were to build a house, like it's super expensive. The price of lumber is really high.
I'm sure that that ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal didn't help.
Oh yeah, probably not.
So, for you, like, what age are you kind of targeting that fire goal at?
Kind of stay conservative and say like 45. I wanted to do 35, but since I'm gonna be getting married and I don't think I could pay a house in, 5 years, 7 years or so. So I'm gonna say 40. By 40, I want to be able to retire. I think really my Weeble portfolio is gonna really help a lot because I think that thing's gonna just snowball in a couple years.
Yeah, so 40 is actually my fire goal as well. I feel like you want to always be secure in the future, right? So you don't want to retire too early and then like later in life, it might be too late. But at the same time, you also don't want to retire too late because then, even now at 24, I have a hard time like just walking around, like who knows where I might be in 40 years. There's things I want to see and enjoy. So, I'm sure you got that in the back of your mind as well.
Yeah, and I mean you're super young. You're 24. You're like what 4 years younger than me. So
Yeah, yeah, no, I think 40 is a good age. But also like when we say retire, I'm sure like, for me, like I'm always engaged in something. So just because I might not have that 9 to 5 anymore, I'm still probably gonna be like, looking for the next best, deal, investment opportunity. Maybe I'll just work part-time at like, Starbucks barista, because I think like just sitting at home and doing nothing is also like bad for your like, well-being as well.
yeah, and I don't think that even if I was to like reach fire, I don't think from my personal self, like I don't think that I could actually stop working. So I even my fiance says that I'm kind of addicted to work because I work a 9 to 5 job, and then at the restaurant that I work Thursday night, Friday night, and then Saturday I go in from 9. I work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And so usually typically Sunday is my only day off, but that's usually when I record the Sunday portfolio update video.
Yeah,
And
so
then
I think you're pretty unique in that you work two jobs, which honestly, of all the people that I think I've ever talked to that have worked like full time, like 9 to 5, I think you're the only one that I've ever met that has like another job on top of it. What kind of motivated? And I know you're not strapped for cash, so like, what kind of motivated you to do that?
I don't know. I'm just, the times that I've stayed at home and either if I watch Netflix, I feel so horrible if I ever do that because I'm not sure, just I don't feel like good afterwards. It's cool to like binge watch like a series. It's not something that I feel happy, but I feel good once I'm like, working and staying active. So I think like even if I was to reach fire, I'd probably continue doing like YouTube and probably doing some other stuff.
Now, if we're still both doing YouTube, if YouTube even exists 15 years from now, like that would just be insane. Just looking at like our prior videos and like portfolio balances.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the other reasons why I started a YouTube channel because I just wanted to see like, 10 years from now, like when I look and you're like, oh, look at that 30,000 portfolio that you had at that point, compared to like what I have now, like all the compounding. And it's like super nice just seeing showing somebody else like, look, here's where I started, look where I'm at now. You can do it as well. You just need time on your side.
Oh, yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about. Even like, I think my earliest video I put out, my portfolio had like $7,000 in it, and I'm almost at $90,000. So, just to see like even like look back at those videos and like even like my logic that I was using back then, and to see like how much I've grown is pretty crazy. So I think you actually mentioned this in your last video, is that you said, I heard somebody else mention this as well, is that is getting to that first $100,000 is like super hard. But I've heard that afterwards, then the compounding really starts to take effect, and it gets, you to those different milestones a lot quicker than it was before. Like, I kind of want to hear like what's your take on that?
Yeah, so like I think that yeah, I completely agree with that. Like I think the hardest thing is starting and like continuing it until you get to a certain point. Like my goal right now, I think that if I get to like 40% of, so I guess just so everybody knows is I'm trying to get my M1 portfolio to a million. So um that's kind of like right now I'm at 160,000 or so. So
Mm-hmm.
that's about 16% the way there. And so I think that once I get to like about 40% after that, that compounding is just going to take off and I'm going to reach the other, what, 60% a lot quicker, like very soon.
Have you ever watched Dr. Dividend?
No.
Yeah, he's this YouTuber. Actually, when I first started investing, I watched a lot of his videos, but his portfolio had like $100,000 in it, and today it's now worth like $700,000 on Robinhood. So he just kind of goes through his like portfolio and what he's buying and selling. So yeah, that's kind of what inspired me to actually start a YouTube channel as well, just to see like his growth. I also watch Benji on YouTube. His
Okay.
portfolio grows so much every time like I watch like a new video of his. So I don't know how much of that is him actually just adding to it, or how much of that is just the compounding going out of control.
No, I think Benji keeps adding money on his because I know he was like buying like a lot of Apple at one point. And so like that's obviously gonna help, long term to compound a lot quicker. But I think a lot of it was he was adding a lot of money towards it.
It's definitely the compounding and the adding to it that Benji's doing. Also, like Joseph Carlson, his portfolio is also just skyrocketing. I mean, I'm sure he makes a lot of money on YouTube these days, but I think it's still like a realistic, tangible goal that the average person can attain, even if it's maybe at a slower rate than like Benji and Dr. Dividend and Joseph Carlson are doing it at.
Yeah, and I think like if you set yourself milestones, like, hey, this year I want to get to, even if you have a small account, let's say you start with $100, and you're like, hey, by the end of the year, I want to have $1,000 in my portfolio. By the next year, those $1,000, you're gonna have a goal for like, hey, I want to make this a $5,000 portfolio. And even just, even if you contribute a little bit every week, like you're gonna get yourself in that mindset of like, hey, should I really be spending this on stuff that I don't really need? And you're going to start saving and putting that because you're going to want to get to that goal, so you're going to actually be investing more. And so it's really nice. Eventually you'll get to like the six figure, which was like a super exciting thing for me when I ever hit it. And then now I'm going for, I'm going to try to get to the 500,000, and I know in a few years that I'll get it to it.
It's just crazy. Like, just keep setting these different milestones, and just keep marking them off your list. Even just on YouTube, like, you might get discouraged. Like, even sometimes maybe when I look at your portfolio, I'm like, man, he's like leaving me in his dust. But at the same time, like, us being in this YouTube community, we're like light years ahead of most typical Americans or investors. So you shouldn't ever like feel down on yourself, as long as you're trying to be positive, and trying to do the best like for your financial situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if you just invest some, like you're good. Even if because I have a subscriber that, he was telling me about how he's almost at the six-figure mark as well.
Yeah.
And there's another his neighbors are basically, they spend most of their money cosmetic stuff and like anything that they want, and like they don't really have anything saved up. So like when stuff breaks, like they're like either, either borrowing money or they're like panicking about it. And like he's over there just like pouring in money because he's, investing like in dividend companies and they're paying him every month. And he's just creating generational wealth.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's all about. I know, like even one of my subscribers was like, yeah, somebody like I had an inheritance like of like $50,000. That's a great foundation to start off with. My parents, they didn't pass on anything to me, but I'm not discouraged because like that just motivates me to work even harder in life. So
Well, it also makes you sure that you're putting your money in something that you believe in, because you're like, this is money I went to go work for and put my time that I'm never going to get back, you know?
yeah, I mean, I guess we could spend it on OnlyFans, $23.
Oh, yeah, we could.
But yeah, I mean, I guess yeah. Last question I have for you is like what do you feel like is one fun fact that the viewers really need to know about Investing Sensei?
So if you guys like the logo on my YouTube channel, I actually drew that and I scanned it and did it on GIMP, which I learned GIMP how to do that. If you guys don't like it, I didn't do it. But the other thing I was going to say about is in case you guys kind of paid attention to the bull, it's the reason why it's called like Investing Sensei. It's martial artist and it's a bull because we're going to go upwards every time because our passive, income's always going to go up. No matter even, a bear market goes down, we're still generating that income and it's still creating more and more every single week.
Wow, I feel dumb because I never actually noticed the bull is like a symbolic of the stock market.
Yeah.
Also, question for you, is Sensei related to, because like you like in your personal life, do you do like karate or something?
No, I want to be a sensei of investing one day.
Oh, gotcha. Multi-purpose for the word.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, thanks for being my first ever guest here on the Collect Cash podcast. My viewers know where to find you at, and we're gonna keep in touch over these hopefully prosperous next couple of years. And it's been an honor to have you, and they can always find you here on YouTube.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. It was really fun.
Hope you guys enjoyed that discussion with Investing Sensei. His channel information is down below. He makes great videos on portfolio reveals, options trading, so chances are if you like my videos, you're going to be loving his videos. Be sure that you've hit that like button and are subscribed. I also want to hear your feedback on if I should make more videos like this in the future.